Hello again, welcome back. This video is going to be another two-parter. The first part is I'm just going to be going over, what an array is and how to populate an array with numbers. The next part I'm going to use those numbers and plot them using GNU plot. So, anyways, basically ultimately the goal is to plot a sine curve. So the first thing I'm going to do is set pi equal to 3.1416. Actually, there's actually a better way to do this. You can multiply 4 times arctangent of 1, and that will get you pi back as well. And remember, the parameter just means that this variable pi is not going to be able to be changed throughout the program. Alright, the next thing I'm going to need is an integer parameter, and I'm going to set it equal to 100. And this is going to be the size of the array. And I'm just doing it this way because it's easier to change it later on. Right, next I'm going to declare my arrays. Okay, and I made two arrays here. One called x and one called y. The dimension here is what makes it an array. The 1:n, that means that the elements in these arrays are going to be numbered 1 to n, and n again was 100. So that means that x is going to be an array of 100 numbers, and y is going to be an array of 100 numbers. Okay, so the next thing I need to do before actually, playing around with this is I'm going to just make a variable a and b, and these are going to be the start and the end points on the plot that I'm going to make. So I'm going to plot on the x-axis from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, and then I need one more variable here called increment. And you'll see what that is when I actually calculate it. Oh, gotta throw one more I in here for a counter in the loops. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is calculate the increment. And I'm going to do that by subtracting the start and the end point from the two extremes on the x-axis. Then I'm going to divide that by n minus 1. And the reason I'm dividing it by n minus 1 instead of n is because I want the plot to start with 0 and end with 2 pi. And it's not going to do that unless I subtract the 1 here. And one more thing I'm going to do is, since n is an integer, I'm going to convert it to a real using this real function. Okay. Just to make sure there's no problems with integer division somewhere. And there are a lot of better ways to do this, to populate these arrays with numbers. I'm doing it this way because I think it's going to be a little more clear. I'll show you a fast array later on. Okay, so when I write x and then a 1 in parentheses, this means the first element of array x. So I'm setting the first element equal to 0. Then what I'm going to do is populate the x array with 100 equally spaced points between 0 and 2 pi. And I'm going to do that with a do loop. Okay, so I'm just going to walk through this and kind of explain what it does. Okay, I set the do loop from 2 to n. So what's going to happen is when it plugs in 2, it's going to plug in 2 for I first. So it's going to make the second element in array X equal to the first element. Oh, 2 minus 1 is 1, plus the increment that we calculated up here. Okay, and then it's going to go back up here and set I equal to 3. Then it's going to add the increment to the second element here, and it's going to do that until the whole array is populated. Okay, now X is an array from 0 to 2 pi made up of 100 equally spaced points. And the last thing I'm going to do, and this is the way easier part, Fortran lets you do operations on entire arrays. So as long as y and x are the same size, I can do this. And what this does is it takes the sign of every element in X and populates the array Y with those values. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do in this video is just print the first couple values of each array. Make sure everything's in working order here. And this is going to print out really ugly, but that's okay. Okay, when you write X and then 1:5 in parentheses, that's going to print out elements 1 through 5 of array X. So I'm just going to go ahead and build this. If I can get out of here. There we go. All right. Okay. Right, and this looks good so far. This is element 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of X, and then elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of Y. Okay, and that's a really ugly output, but in the next video I'm gonna talk about cleaning it up a little bit, outputting it to a file, and opening it and looking at it in GNU plot. Alright, thanks for watching, and take care.